Hi Libra, this is your homework family reading for July 1st through the 15th. I use the bell. Well, everybody calls me bells anyway in my real life. But I use the bell because it helps, clear out any additional negative energy that maybe I'm not sensing or I don't notice. It helps clear it out, make sure everything's purified. Okay, Libras, Sun and Rising Venus. Before I get into everything else, first thing the Spirit is giving me is obviously communication. Mercury's going to go retrograde on the 7th of July. And it's going to kind of cross over you in all directions, more or less, is the way I see it in the astrology. And I will get into that in just a minute. But, I mean, and you're ruled by Venus, so sensitivity a little bit more. But I'm being told right off the bat, because it gets into how you're communicating. But for you directly, I'm being told off the bat, in your communication skills, at least for July 1st through the 15th, you need to really be working on soulfully communicating. From your heart and soul, from what it is the soul desires, is what I'm being given by Spirit. Soulfully communicating. And I'm being told, of your free spirit, your feelings, your senses, your art, your creativity, your poetry, your yearnings, sensitivity, passion, imagination, all of the idea of what would be considered, that creative side of the brain. You're being asked to connect to that, because that's more of the soulful energy. Then there's the masculine and the feminine energy. The feminine is the more creative of the two. You're being asked to create, I guess, create and connect directly more with that creative side, and allow it to soulfully help you figure out what you're wanting to figure out, say, and do. And then obviously it's going to go in with that throat chakra because it's for everybody. But I feel like for you it's very much about, because I keep getting like in my jaw. So it has to do with how you're speaking. As to what will help make whatever changes are going to take place. I am also feeling like I'm very much being pushed back. So I don't know if I'm getting a lot of energy coming at me. Because I may be feeling a couple things for a couple different people. Obviously, it cannot be for every Libra on the planet, but for those that I am connecting with, I feel like it's either an overwhelming, like, kind of energy, like, okay, whoa, or it could be like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down, step back, and really take a look at things, is what I'm feeling. As far as the energy goes, for the most part, is what I'm picking up from Spirit. And Spirit just said that some of you need to calm down. And they were directing me to the third eye in general, in some of that. So the third eye is also your imagination, is also how you visualize, and the wisdom that you are carrying. So it's throat and the third eye, more or less, is what Spirit is redirecting me to off of my notes. Is there anything else I need to know? No, you already told me third eye. They said the third eye is going to be going through levels of growth. But it's not really bothering me. Anyway, okay, I'm not really feeling it, but they're pointing out to me your should-haves. I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Some of you are sitting in your should-haves, is what I call it. I could have done that. I should have done that. I wish I... What if I coulda, I shoulda, I woulda, and all of that shit will drive you batshit crazy, okay? And Spirit is more or less pointing out to me the overwhelmed energy, the burdens, and trying to wish you were more perfect about the situation. And they're saying, get out of your should-haves. And don't be throwing blame and bitterness into that throat energy. Because, okay, what they're explaining is the third eye, you're trying to ascend into a more creative energy as you try to move forward in a more positive way this month. But for me, the way they explain it is the shoulders is where, okay, now I'm starting to feel it, all right. The shoulders is where the third halves, the should haves, is felt. It's what I always call the way spirit works with me, and I just explain it to people because that has to do with my shamanic work and my empath work, and how when I work with people and help them heal, I also help understand what their issues are with levels of illnesses that they haven't released. And the neck and the shoulder pain usually has to do with that should have. I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. Holding on to bitterness and blame, usually of what you're blaming yourself, what you're not letting go of. Wishing you could have changed it, but it's already gone and passed. And is of burdens that have overwhelmed you, kept you, from moving forward and make you question if you did the right thing. These typically are energies when I speak to people of where your heart and your head are fighting. Your heart says one thing, but your head says another thing. And because of that, that's when the shoulders and the neck starts to hurt. In general, because it's like the super highway between the two, but the connection isn't getting through, or the connection, the communication isn't finding a balance, and because of it, usually the head's overriding it, which is bringing the energy down, but the heart won't just accept it, so it's causing pain within the neck and the shoulders, which means you may be also fighting your intuition of your own failure, or worried about intuition and thinking that you may fail at it in general, because I was told to reword that. You may be inflexible and think that you're sure you know everything. Being told more though is some level or another. It's a fear of a situation that's keeping you in your head. That's one, it's like a waiting. I feel like it's a waiting. You're waiting on a situation, but it's not that. You need to follow through with your intuition instead of waiting for the result to give you the right intuition, is what they're saying. As to what to do, you already know, but this is why they started off with giving me the jaw and this whole throat chakra, but they're saying it's, within your creativity and all of that side of you, and getting into the you, not what others are thinking or not what the other people in the situation. You have to decide for yourself. And as you decide for yourself, you're connecting more to your true authentic self. Because of it, you will speak more from the soul, which will allow you to start to move forward and listen to your intuition. I'm being told again. More or less, it's getting past being afraid of having a fear of speaking your own truth and your own authority. With that being said, where's my little notes here? In astrology, before I even get into anything, in astrology, most astrologers are going to make it sound like you don't even have very much going on in your chart, but that's so wrong. It's so wrong, because for you, Libra, that's your universal first house. But Libra has Haumea, make, or maki, however you pronounce it. And it has Palace in it. You have 3 very powerful, important things in it. And when I say, I call them all planets, whether they're a comet, a dwarf planet, asteroid, I don't care. When I say astrology, I call everything a planet. So you have 3 important planets there. And I pulled out my notes real fast because Pallas is Athena. She is the wise maiden. She is the weaver of patterns. This is who's smack dab in the center of your astrology universal first house, where your self-worth is. Not your self-worth, your self-awareness, your physical body, your personality, your appearance, your view of life, your ID, your image. Athena, the warrior goddess, is getting you in deep with who and what you are on a new level. Okay, she's the weaver of patterns. Athena, the warrior goddess. She's the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of courage, the goddess of warfare, intuition, Strategy. Learn to talk one day. Skills, defense. But like Libra, she also is able to see both sides of the situation. So she is able to definitely pick apart the positives and the negatives. And she is in conflict. She goes to legal battles, injustice, and starts to want to figure out how to fix that injustice. Now, she, in your astrology, let me find my thing here. She in astrology is across from Aries, which is putting her across from Chiron, the wounded healer, and across from Medusa, which is Eris, technically, which is trouble, toil, strife. And Medusa is best at injustice. Athena is looking to slay the injustice. Okay? See my point? These two are in opposition with each other. And this would be your universal 7th house. So it's looking at your relationships. Haumea and Make are also in your universal 1st house, which happens to be your self-awareness. Like I said, your universal 1st house is your self-awareness, your physical body, your personality, your appearance, your views of life, your ID, and the image of who and what you are. Haumea is your collective consciousness, is in your very self-awareness, speaking with the strategic thinking of Athena, the warrior goddess, and Make or Maki, which is the lotus flower. This is coming from the very beginning, the root, the alpha of who and what made you you. You're redefining that. You're learning how to really understand what that means. And, grab a hold of it. I don't know why, but I want to say, bite into it like a steak. I have no idea why, but that's what they're giving me. You really want to bite into it, and really get in on that. I feel like it's like savoring the juice. I don't know why, but this is what they're giving me. So apparently for somebody, they needed it to be said that way. But Make is the lotus flower. This is where the problem may be and may not be versus where it's in opposition with. Because this is your collective consciousness, your strategic thinking, speaking to where you are on the growth of the lotus flower. And I always say, the lotus flower is a very spiritually evolved flower, is the way we view it. Because it starts out growing in the dirty, murky, muddy, nasty water. It can't see the light through the shit. But it keeps growing. And it keeps trying. Eventually it breaks through and it's like in the frothy mess. But now I at least have an idea of I can find my way. I've broken through the film. I'm starting to find the light. And then it starts to grow and mature and it blooms. So where are you on those 3 levels? Are you can't find the light through the shit? Are you in the frothy mess starting to actually transform? Or are you blooming? And this is coming back to the very speaking to Athena, strategic thinking of what you need to know you better, your own self-awareness, your own identity, your own image, as well as your body physically. And then the collective consciousness of all of that combined. That is directly fighting with your universal 7th house, which for you is Aries. But Libra rules the universal 7th house as a sign. So it's getting into seeing both sides of every story, wanting to create harmony and balance, but you're having to do what you always do. You have to look at where harmony is not in balance in order to be able to create it. Okay? This is the relationships. This is marriage, relationships, business. It is contracts. It is divorce, separation. It is lawsuits. It's open enemies. It's friends, families, loved ones. on all levels. And I say everything you have a relationship with, you have, I mean, everything you care about, you have a relationship with. When you have no car, you know about that relationship with the lack of a car. When you have no job, you know about your lack of a relationship with money. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So it is having a problem dealing with where the injustice in the relationship has been served, and where Chiron, the wounded healer, can't quite start a new cycle, can't quite figure out how to adjust the healing. Because he's not going to, truthfully, until Medusa moves out of that universal 7th house for you. And she's very close to it. I think she moves out at the end of the month. But she's very much poking her head into the injustice, the trouble, the toil, the strife. And Chiron is just wanting to find a way to heal it and make new beginnings. So you're fighting this within yourself right off the bat. And Spirit is telling me right off the bat to take you to your universal 9th house, which is dealing with your philosophy, your religion, your law, your learning, your higher education, your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your dreams, your visions, your higher mind, your books, your rituals, and how it is you journey spiritually. Now, for your universal 9th house, since they're directing me there, let's see what in the world that's about. How's if you put this in your hand right? That's why. It's in Gemini for you, which is another air sign. But Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So it's saying everything right now is definitely going to have to do with that communication. Because Mercury is going retrograde on the 7th. And until July 7th, it's in shadow. Now, I say to everybody, I don't mean to make us all sound self-centered, but when Mercury goes retrograde, we tend to become a little self-centered. We're more in communication with ourselves than we are with the outer world. And prior to that, it's in shadow, so we're kind of looking at the darker aspects of things. And Mercury rules, I mean, Spirit is pointing me to your 7th house, which is Gemini, but it's also ruled by Mercury. So it's saying this is the perfect communication time for the higher self within you. Connect with that higher self within you. Those morals, those spiritual urges, your psychic energies, your higher mind, and that wisdom, and help you lead you through. But remember, Mercury is in retrograde. So, or it will be in retrograde as of the 7th. Prior to the 7th, it's still in shadow. And it's going to cross over Mars. Technically, it is in Cancer. For you, that really truly means that's your universal 10th house. That's where your honor, your prestige, your reputation, your professional career, your financial success, and how you create that financial success, as well as the community behind what creates it, for you. Your social foundations, your duty, authority, and responsibilities. So it's your outer world of responsibilities, more or less. And that happens, like I said, to be your 10th house. But you have Mercury going retrograde there, wanting to overthink what is your real part in this. Is it serving you? Is it not? Your Mars is there also at the time. So, and they're both trying to go back to Gemini. Well, Mercury's trying to go back to Gemini. Mars actually moves out and moves in, not Gemini, back to Cancer. They go back and they're going to be trying to communicate with that Cancer symbol, but sign. Mars and Leo with Mercury, shadow and retrograde, and Jera, sacrifice, commitment, passion, action, aggression, warrior, and sacral chakra. Communication of how you feel about yourself and where are you taking yourself? Where are you taking yourself in this world? How are you creating yourself? Where are you taking yourself in this world? Where are you're really coming into a plot thickening of yourself is what I feel like is going on. And they're pointing me back to ethics, morals, spiritual urges. Ethics, morals, spiritual urges. They say stick with this for the month. Ethics, morals, spiritual urges. You know, all of this psychic energy with your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges. This is your higher self knowing better. And more or less, this is what they're directing me to as I speak to you. Because these energies are going to be shifting. Like I said, on July 1st, Mars goes into Leo. On July 2nd, you have the solar eclipse with the new moon in Cancer. For you, that's also your 10th house. I don't know why I had to do that. I already knew I was talking about the 10th house. So this is, you know, this all of this is taking place in your outer community, which means in truth you're dealing with a whole lot of material world, professional world, top priority things for you. You know, is other people, the relationships within this is your conscious actions and what is visible to you, so that you can start to understand what you're supposed to be doing. What is your path? What is your true path? Is it not vibrating with you? Does it not vibe? Is it not connecting anymore? Because if it's not, there's a reason, because they're trying to redirect you into the proper path for you. And I say they because the spirit keeps pointing these things out to me. But is this helping you get on the right side of you? This is helping you get to a deeper knowing of yourself, a more satisfaction within yourself. But this is also making you acknowledge, in order for you to get to that satisfaction, it's going to come through knowing you're dealing with that outer community, and things within that outer community are going to change, because your universal 4th house is where the rules, the walls, the boundaries are shifting. And that's Capricorn. That's where Pluto is right now. That's where Pluto is right now. That's where Saturn is right now. That's where the South Node is right now. So it's telling you what you've gotten used to. What are the patterns, the addictions, the habits that you've gotten so used to, and you think that they serve you, but they don't serve you anymore. They've become a bad habit. It's a bad habit that you keep doing over and over again that isn't actually taking you where you truly desire to be, or getting into a deeper depth of self and allowing you to have the true life you desire. These are the conversations that is showing itself to you, especially right now, because you're going from the solstice through the solar eclipse and through the lunar eclipse, between these two signs of Cancer and Capricorn. And like I said, so all these energies are coming from the universal 4th house too, which is speaking to you of your inner emotional security, of the roots and who and what you are, as well as what created you to be the beautiful hot mess that you are, and what parts of that beautiful hot mess needs to be sharpened up. That's all. Because it's karmic lessons. This is where reincarnation of true authenticity begins, is what I'm being told. This is where you refine yourself, and through that you also refine the proper direction of where you need to be in the outer community, and those relationships that are part of your life, if they serve you and if they are not. And you may start to acknowledge some of that come the solar eclipse on January 2nd. If not, you'll definitely have it brought to your attention by the lunar eclipse on the 16th of July. Not January, July 2nd and July 16th. Because the lunar eclipse takes place in your 4th house, which is the home of who and what you are. But the solar eclipse is going to illuminate issues that are coming in within the career zone, the outer community, and all of that. is going to be illuminated more around the 2nd. Now you also have Venus, which is moving in, which is your ruler, moving also into Cancer, where all of this energy is taking place in the outer community, to extra sensitize it, more or less, to give you exactly, making sure you get the oomph of what you need to see so the growth can be made, making sure you can't miss it. It's going to illuminate it, more or less. And then it all goes, Mercury goes retrograde on the 7th, crossing back over Mars and coming back into Cancer again. So it's definitely going to be having its conversations, trying to help you see what parts you need to shift and change. But let me see. What are you doing? I didn't tell you to do that. Yeah, because it's coming from the community from the community in general, your goals, your wishes, your dreams, and jumping back into where it's fighting how you create your money, your careers, your prestige, your professional, how your reputation is seen. And you're going to be noticing parts of all of that isn't exactly what you want. And how are you going to change it? Because there's something there that's meant to help it go right, because the North Node is there. So there's something there illuminating you to help you shift into a new proper healing direction. And there's something about your roots, the home and the habits that you've created, you're going to start to see there's something that's no longer serving you, and it's a pivotal shifting point, which will start pointing you in a healthier forward direction, more or less. But you'll be noticing it as you move through the 2 eclipses. What does Libra need to know? Where are they at? Where's Libra at for July 1st through the 15th? July 1st through the 15th. Where's their energy sitting for Libra? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. You guys are already all over the board. First thing that pops out is this. This one is a special thing that comes with the Thoth deck. As I throw the Thoth deck around. This is a special extra card, which stands for you create your life as you are living it. You have the power to create everything going on in your life, for the positive or the negative. Acknowledge that right off the bat. That has to do with your thinking, folks. And your thinking can break you or make you. So, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, where are they at? Outside of that, what do they need to know? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for July 1st through the 15th. Were you an accident? I'm still not taking it. I don't know which direction he was. I picked it up without really paying attention. Well, in that case, fine. Domination. It is 2 of Wands. Domination. 4 of Discs, which is 4 of Pentacles. I'm going to go back over it in just a minute. 3 of Wands. 4 of Cups. And the Magician. And what was the first card? You create your own reality. You create your own reality. And basically that's what all of these cards are saying. Okay, but we'll walk through it anyway. Domination. 2 of Wands. Dominate your comfort zone. Period. You need to dominate your comfort zone. Achieve structure. Maybe it is you're achieving structure, because that's definitely not what that says. Achieve future success by dominating your comfort zone. This is also Aries, Mars, So it may have to deal with an Aries sign. This is 4 of, in this deck it's called discs, but it's pentacles. This is more or less your 4 or 1. This is the way I usually interpret it. I will read everything that it says, but you're 4 or 1. You're emotional, you're mental, you're spiritual, and you're physical. And when all of them are not in balance, then baby, you are not in balance. And being a Libra, you should understand that. So all 4 creates one balance: emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. And you should comprehend that, being a Libra. This is telling you that this is growth, stability, and it is tangible energy. As you are creating, like I said, you are creating this energy right off the beginning. Planted, grounded power, working for what you want. You are able to create as you so see fit if your thinking is in the right place. And they're telling you, it sounds like all the things you need to know about getting it right, or where it is right. Then you have 3 of Wands. Again, this is thinking with integrity and clarity. What was I saying right off the bat? Spirit was saying that this is thinking and speaking from the soul. Thinking with integrity and clarity before you act is what this is. It's called virtue. This is a Aries and the sun. So it's talking about illuminating you from the very beginning. But it's also, and for you, that's your 7th house. So it's illuminating you within that 7th house as well, those relationships. Then you have 4 of Cups, which is, this is a water sign, because the way this card actually is written by this deck, this could be Cancer and it could be Pisces, but it is restless blessings because it's going through Scorpio. It is speaking to you of realizing what it is you do have, not just looking at what you don't. Realizing what it is you do have so that you can appreciate what it is you do have. This is also speaking, though, of you being of boredom within the situation or within the relationship, and temporary pleasure is being sought. So because of that, like I said, tweaking the situation, kind of making, like on a knob of a radio, when you just turn the knob a little bit, sometimes it gets staticky, sometimes it doesn't. You're turning the knob. You're turning the knob to create it better, because all of this has to do with how you're going to create your magic, or where you're already at and acknowledging it. This is either taking you into July or telling you where you're already at and acknowledging that this is what you are creating, whether you realize it or not, positive or negative. Magic is manifestation, okay? That's what a magician is. He speaks to you about manifestation. But let me help you understand. In the Thoth deck, the Thoth reminds us, it doesn't matter what you're trying to manifest if you are not connected to that higher self, which is the alpha, because you, my darling, are the beta. If the beta is not connected to that alpha, that higher self, which is what they were saying right off the bat, speak from the soul, then you are manifesting shit. You're not manifesting nothing. So if you're not connecting to the higher self of who and what you are, your true desires, this manifestation is not going to go where you want it to go. And Thoth deck doesn't play any games with that. They're very blunt. It's all about being connected to that higher self. And if you're not within the higher self, then your manifestation is not being created as so. Then they are giving me, all right, now it makes sense. They kept with the same deck because they didn't have me switch decks. So as you move into it, from there on out, right off the back, you move into the Fool. The Fool is also an Aquarius energy, typically, because it deals with Uranus. It is above and below, the upper and the lower waters. And when I say the upper and lower waters, I'm speaking of Hebrew. The upper waters is the spiritual energy, the higher self. The lower waters are the ego. This is sifting through the two. This is, you're moving through the energy waves itself in this deck. It speaks to you. It's the paradox of the God and the man from within. So it's finding the freedom that Uranus brings you by working through that paradox. This is what the Fool is in this deck. Then it gives you the Ace of Wands as you move through the rest of the month. It speaks to you of the breakthrough, motivative, and inspiring energy. It is inspired potential and opportunities to stay, to start over. Yeah, just to start over. I don't know what I wrote. It is opportunities to start over. It can be a brand new opportunity. It's a brand new fire within you. This is sifting through the paradox of your egotistical and your egotistical side, your higher side. This is you, Libra. You're going through this. Like I said, everything right now is about you speaking from the soul. And if you're speaking from the soul, you're going to get to this just fine. This is saying that, you're going to let the fires from within reignite. Start something brand new, a breakthrough, motivated, inspired, something new is starting. Then it brings you to the Nine of Pentacles, which is gain, where now you're starting to manifest it into true reality, whatever it is you're trying to create. This is Virgo and Venus. This can be an improvement or settlement and luck coming in. So you are dealing with Uranus, you are dealing with fire signs, you are dealing with earth signs, more or less. I mean, it may be validation for you, it may not. I'm giving you what I'm being told. But this is, whatever is going on, you are definitely going to be bringing it into tangible reality as you come closer to the second half of July. You may not see it right off the bat, but that also depends. Were you doing it from a higher soul point of view? Or not? Because that will really depend on what it is you're creating tangibly. Like I said, right off the bat, they're just saying your communication, how you communicate from the soul. Soul communication and what's coming out of your mouth. Libras, a lot of you Libras, I love you guys. But a lot of you Libras will sacrifice what's best for you. Over and over and over again. Because you're trying to make everybody else in the world around you happy. And you've got to stop that shit. If you're not happy, then all you're doing is living a lie while you make everybody else happy. That's one of the biggest things I've found with any Libras that I have met in my life. And it's always good to want to be of service and to be a good person and to try to make balance. But if you're making balance for false reasons, then actually you're going against the cause. Love you. What does Libra need? Never mind. Deliverance. This is, okay, this is the I Ching deck. The I Ching deck speaks of the energy of what it is, but it also gives you the energy of how it's created. Okay, so it helps you to comprehend where Spirit's taking you here. The deliverance is release, relief, a fresh approach, liberation from obstruction, finding a solution. It is brought about from the arousing thunder, provoking, shocking, amazing. It's also considered, because this is, I Ching is Chinese, it's also considered the birthing of the dragon. But it is also created with that energy versus the abysmal. The fetal waters, like a child in the womb. The facing of danger, the emotional difficulty, and the abstracting of energy. The deliverance, which is release, relief, fresh approach, liberation, obstruction, finding of solutions, speaks to you of to share and to risk. With that being said, is there anything special that we need to leave Libra with for the first part of July to help them on their path? Some little good, healthy guidance for all Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Libra signs. Right, I just thought that I missed it. I know you're here, I feel you moving. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Libra. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Libra. Thank you. Forgiveness. Trusting yourself is... Sorry. Trusting yourself is often harder than trusting in others. Don't worry if you get it wrong. The consequences will not be as bad as you think. Trust in yourself, guys. Trust in yourself. Don't always be out to make it all better for everybody else. I mean, you're the scales. You're the justice balancing of scales. But what about your justice? If the scales can't even justice scales for themselves, what good are they to anyone else? Amazement. You are working hard to get everything just the way it is right now. Trust and enjoy this moment. Everything is exactly how it should be. Is there anything that the healing deck wants to say as we finish this time up for Libra? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Libra signs. Nope, that's the wrong one anyway. Make clear, calm thinking your goal. And remember, right when we began, Spirit told me calmness and took me over to the crown, the third eye. So, make clear, calm thinking your goal right now. I just feel like there's something else here. Let love be your motivation for action. But remember to let that motivation start with loving yourself. Alrighty, guys. I will see you the second part of July. And then check in for the weekly healing messages. And please, if you enjoy the videos, subscribe. Thank you.